What is your position on plans for expansion of FortisBC's LNG, or liquid natural gas, terminal on Fraser River?
Once again, this is really a dangerous decision without a proper process in place. We don't know that we need this. We don't know that this is safe. We don't know very much at all because we don't have the facts. And I know lots of people have told me that LNG is bad, and I tend to agree with you, but I'm hesitant because we don't know we don't have the information, we don't have the science, we don't have evidence-based decision-making in the way environmental assessments are done in this country right now. It's not a rigorous process, it's not a fair process, it's not a transparent process, and it's not independent, and it's certainly not transparent. We really need to focus on making our decisions. Again, we need to look at the cumulative effect of having this right in our backyards. What's going to happen when this happens, and the port and the coal and all this happens? It really concerns me. I think we need a fair, transparent, robust, science-based process put in place so we know the actual effect that this is going to have in our community, and I think we all know the decision that's going to result from that.
I agree. We do need a fair, robust, rigorous process in place. And those processes are in place through both the federal and provincial governments. Now, with respect to FortisBC, I don't think we can prejudge these things. We don't know yet exactly what it means, but we do know that we want to know. And we know that that process has to take place. We want to see the science. We want public consultation. We want our community involved. We want our views known. And we should do that. But here's an example of where a member of parliament can do something in reality as opposed to just talking in theory. FortisBC gave notice to 25 of our farmers that they wanted to facilitate the new LNG at Tilbury. They wanted to put in new power lines that would disrupt 25 farms. Instead of looking to a right-of-way that they already own and that the province could already access just in a slightly different direction, that could still do the job. They wanted to disrupt 25 farmers. So I went out there, I looked at it, I saw the land, I listened to the farmers, and I wrote to and advocated to the provincial government not to expropriate this land on behalf of Fortis and damage crops that sometimes take years to grow, but to do it another way. The province has now backed off, Fortis has backed off, they have decided not to use that route. They're going another route which will slightly affect 4 farms where they're all right with it. They've given agreement. That's action. That's doing things for the community on the ground.
When we talk about liquid natural gas, we talk about fracked gas. The science is in on fracking. The county in Texas where it was invented has outlawed it. So that might tell you something. The state of Hawaii has opted out of using liquid natural gas to power their infrastructure. That's going to be something you're going to see is going to have a snowball effect around the world, which is going to kill the business case for liquid natural gas. So what the Green Party would do would be to invest in sustainable energy infrastructure like solar, wind, geothermal, and existing hydroelectric dams. The need for this is going away, and this is going to be an albatross around our neck that's going to destroy our groundwater around the province, and it's all to enrich a Malaysian company. It's not to enrich Canada.
As I've mentioned before, and I'm sure we'll say again before the day is out, we need a credible environmental review process before we can assess these projects. I'm not an expert on fracked gas. I'm not an expert on LNG, but that's why we do rely on the experts, people who are experts on these issues, people who study them. And we rely on the consultation that we do with the community and whether the community actually wants this project in its backyard. I too am concerned about the effects that this might have on the Fraser River estuary, on our farmland, which needs to be protected. I'm a big proponent of making sure that we have locally grown, healthy food, and I don't want to see that food contaminated by what's leaching into the ground. Now, on the macro scale, at a higher level, we need to think about the effects of promoting yet another fossil fuel on our collective well-being in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. We need to seriously begin the process of transitioning off of fossil fuels. We must do this. It is an imperative not just for us in the Lower Mainland, but also for everyone on the planet. And we have a plan to begin that, and it involves putting in place a cap-and-trade system with hard targets for greenhouse gas emission reductions every year. Tom Mulcair did it when he was Environment Minister in Quebec. We can do it again as a federal government. It is a way to use a market mechanism for companies to be incentivized to dramatically reduce their greenhouse gas emissions over the next several dozen years, to the point where we have incentivized companies to get off of traditional fuel sources like LNG and get into the fastest growing sector of the global market, green technology. There are a lot of really good jobs to be found there. We could be part of that here, and we're letting that opportunity slip by going